we certainly have some customers who are itching to get back to business as usual and get back to the evergreen messaging and evergreen storytelling. But they're also spinning up this ramping up messaging, as you're saying. The data is not in of whether it'll work because it hasn't started yet, and we haven't even seen that creative yet. So we don't have too much color on what that'll look like. I think again, it'll be very different by category. If you're a category that has stayed neutral or sped up, you have a different conversation with your creative agency than someone whose your product went to zero if you're in travel or something, and you have to slowly ramp back up. Some obvious things that I've seen from outside of our work with customers just across the ecosystem is of safety messaging. So a lot of things we'll hear this summer will be about why the airline is thinking about your safety, and why the whatever mode of transportation thinking about your safety, and why the restaurant is thinking about your safety, and all the innovation we've seen at restaurants and local businesses to make their front door the pickup window, things like that will keep being highlighted. So certainly a safety theme to it, but we've also seen some brands start to get ready for wave 2. So we've had conversations with customers who are building their breakout playbooks. So the next time there is some type of outbreak, that they understand how to deal with this. They don't want to be caught flat-footed. So I think every CMO will have that outbreak playbook in her or his desk for a while, certainly this fall. And a lot of attention is already being given to, hey, if this comes back in the fall, what do we do? Let's not be caught flat-footed again. So that's taking up some brain power from CMOs right now, versus how do we just message the recovery in the summer, then assume things get back to normal forever. I think there's still some healthy pessimism that there could be a recurrence of some of these issues in the fall.
And I think there's some expectation setting too. So a lot of businesses that have had to pivot or shift to continue to do business, because it is becoming such a polarized topic of when and where we should reopen, and at what speeds, and what the different kind of regulations and steps should be to handle those reopenings. Even when things do start to reopen, there's going to be a group of people that are ready to go back to normal, and there's going to be a group of people that are not ready to go back to normal. So kind of being able to share your message of, here are the different ways we can operate, here are your options, I think will be important. So if I still only want to do carry out from restaurants that didn't typically do carry out, is that still available? Things like that. If I'm one of those people that isn't quite ready to just go dine in. And I think that should be a part of the messaging, at least for a while, to kind of help people to know what their choices are and what their options are.
Are we entering a time that's a bit more risky for brands in terms of this messaging? You know, I mean, you're illustrating, Amy, the complexity, I think, of speaking to different audiences. But what are the risks for brands as we sort of move into the reopening phase and, they start communicating differently?
I think that there are risks, because when we initially started and it was, we're all in this together, that was a really nice message, and everybody kind of felt like, okay, we're all doing this. But now it's becoming just so fragmented in the different opinions, and it's becoming really, really polarized. So I think brands have to be a little bit careful about what they say, because it could rub one group the wrong way. If they're like, yeehaw, we're open again, and then there's this group of people that doesn't think they should be open. So I do think that there's a little bit more risk, and you have to be kind of careful.
On that point, I was seeing, sorry, Michelle, on that point, I was seeing there's been some local backlash against some businesses that are moving to reopen out of economic necessity. And people are saying, oh, let's boycott this business because they're obviously part of the spreader coalition, whatever, that kind of stuff. But Michelle, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I feel like if we remember back to times when things were normal and there were bakeries that refused to make LGBTQ cakes, this is going to be something similar to that, because it's something where it's a little bit based on geography, something like that, but a lot of it is because there are all sorts of groups of people all in the same geographic region, and they have different opinions about what you should and shouldn't do. Neither one is right or wrong. History will decide whatever it is. But I think that, like Amy said, it's something where you kind of need to see if you can find a lane where you can fit in the middle, but there really might just be a little bit of brand playing into it of what company are you? Are you going to lean into the type of people that you are at your ownership level? Maybe you are the type of person who's yay raw, we're opening back up, and you'll probably find new customers because they are paying attention to you because there are people in your community that are like that. Or you're going to be somebody who stays more, I was going to say conservative, but that's not really the right way to do it since this is political. Cautious. There we go. Trying to be more safe, trying to be more cautious, and really leans into that messaging and keeps things closed. There might just have to be a point where you make the call and know that you're going to alienate some people one way or the other. It's obviously best if you can have the widest range of audience and make sure and try and speak a little bit to both of them. But if it really comes down to it with, like you said, economics, if you really have to reopen your business economic wise and there are people who are mad at you, that's just what you had to do to keep your business afloat. If you can keep it closed and there are people who really want to eat there, then sorry, I can keep it closed. And I think that's the right thing to do. And you're going to make some people mad. So I would say we also need to go into this knowing that you need to do what's right for you, either because of your values and your leadership's values and your employees' values, or if it's an economic side of it and you really need to lean into it. Do what is right for your business. Trying to pander to everybody usually means that you're talking to nobody. So I would also say try and keep that in mind too.